not going to beat around the bush in this video. This is a 2018 Cayman, 718 Cayman, and when it was launched it caused quite a stir, but for the wrong reasons. You see, the Cayman and Boxster before this had flat six engines and people loved them for that engine. But this one came along with a 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine and it caused uproar. Now in this video I want to discuss what this engine is like in real life and work out whether 6 years later, is it really a big deal? I don't think it is. Now, just a little disclaimer, I love the flat six engine from the 911 and the Cayman and the Boxster. I've driven a few and it does make some glorious noises and it's very characterful, it's very distinctive. You know when you're in a flat six Porsche car, a bit like you do with like an Impreza and things like that. They just have this distinctive noise which is instantly recognisable. And getting rid of that is a shame, definitely, but there are solutions to this problem which I'll get into in the video. So why did Porsche do it? Well, they didn't really want to, did they? Everyone's under pressure now to cut on emissions and all this stuff, and the only way really to do that quickly and effectively was to make a smaller engine with forced induction, and that is how these cars were born. So I can't really criticise Porsche too much because, one, they had to do it, two, they're actually putting a load of effort into these e-fuels and developing engines to run on that and bringing the price of e-fuels down. So it's not like they want to kill the combustion engine. Just get rid of this steam. And three, it's actually a cracking engine. I would like to talk a little bit about torque. You see, this 718 Cayman, the 2-litre turbo, has 290 pounds-feet of torque. Now the car that it's replaced, which was the 2.7 flat six Cayman, the 981, had only 220, 230. It was 30% down on torque compared to this car. And torque is a useful commodity. When you're driving a car on the road, which, let's face it, we do, not everyone goes on a racetrack, and even if you had this car and took it on track, it's not going to be that often. Whereas with the previous flat six car, which has quite long gearing, similar to this, you have to be really on it to really enjoy the top end of the revs. You know, let's see what we'll do in second in this car. So I'll put it in manual, drop into second. So I'm not going to thrash it because it's a bit wet, but let's see what speed we hit in second. You know, you're over 70 miles an hour in second. So if you want to enjoy the noises and the sensations and the thrills of the flat six on the road, you have to be going at a fair lick. Whereas with a more torquey engine that's turbocharged like this one, you get performance a lot lower down in the rev range. I might try and flash up some graphs really of the torque and power. It's a bit geeky, I know, but bear with me.
Look at this graph.
Peak torque on this car arrives at 2,000 RPM, a little bit less in fact, whereas you get peak torque on the flat six Cayman at 4,500, and it's less torque. It makes a massive difference. So just driving down here now, down these country roads, you only need to just lean on the throttle for it to gain serious momentum, and then you can start enjoying the chassis, which, as we know with the Cayman, absolutely phenomenal. The steering is electric, but it feels extremely well put together. Everything feels well connected, if you know what I mean. The way you sat in the car, the position you are in the car, the engine's behind you. You're just a nice distance away from everything to feel what everything's doing. The wheelbase isn't too long. It's easy to place. It's easy to drive slowly, which is a real plus in a car like this. It's a great daily. I say this a lot, and you probably hear me banging on about it. Cars that are good on the road are good cars. You could have a GT3 RS down this lane and it would actually probably be a pain in the arse. Yeah, it'll look great. It's got a massive wing on the back. You're showing everyone that you can afford or you can get access to a GT3 RS. But are you going to be enjoying all these bumps and cambers? I think deep down you'll be a bit sad. Just for the record, I would love a GT3 RS. Noise was a big criticism as well, because a flat 4 isn't the best sounding engine, but I think Porsche have done a good job with it. It's got a sports exhaust that you can change, you can make it quieter or a bit louder, and it makes some entertaining pops and bangs. I don't feel too shortchanged. I mean, the flat 6 does sound great, but I quite like the sound of this car building its boost and delivering that torque. It's worth also pointing out that the new Boxster and the new Cayman are being developed as full electric vehicles. So if you're that upset about losing flat 6s, I think I'd be more upset about losing an internal combustion engine. I suspect those cars will be crazy. I can imagine they'll be rivaling 918s for performance. But is that really the point of a Cayman or a Boxster? I don't think so. This car is fitted with a PDK gearbox, a 7-speed, which you can also get it with a 6-speed manual. I think the PDK works really well actually with this engine, because you can just put it in the torque. It's a beautiful car to drive through these roads. It just feels so planted and so balanced. It rides really well. The interior is classic Porsche. It's simple. Everything's easy to use. There's quite a lot of fake, like, dead buttons down here, which just makes you think, I wish I'd spent a bit more money on options. But they do know how to charge you on options, these people. How much do you pay for a car like this? Well, this one has done 64,000 miles. It's got full history. It's up for just under 30k, which I think's really good value for money. It's a relatively new car. It feels new to me. Parking sensors are going a bit nuts. I'm not that close, am I? But it's the sort of car that you just feel like it's going to go on forever. It just feels so robust. I love this steering wheel as well. There's no buttons on it or anything like that, just the paddles behind it. You don't have to fiddle around with audio and all that stuff. It's just purely for changing direction. Good job, Porsche. Make them sound like a dog, don't I? Good job. What are the rivals to this? Well, we had an Alpine A110 come visit us yesterday when we sold the i8 that I did a video on last week. If you want to watch that, it's up there. And I think that would be a rival to this car, but it felt quite hardcore. The owner let me sit in it, and it has seats which you can't really adjust. You have to get out a socket set and spanners to adjust the seat, and it felt quite bare inside. There was carbon fibre, there was bits of trim like missing just to save weight. It felt special, don't get me wrong, but the Cayman just has that slight more refinement to it. It's a car that you can enjoy and it can thrill you on the road down twisty lanes and stuff, but if you want to just get to your destination in comfort, you can do that in this car, no problem. Another rival for me would be the BMW M2, and I'm a massive BMW M2 fan, so I would take that over most cars on the road. So I think the 4-cylinder Caymans, whether it's this one, the 2 litre or the 2.5 litre, I think they've got a good case to exist in this world. I wouldn't buy it for fuel economy. If you're going to buy a Cayman for fuel economy, why? It probably isn't even any more economical than a flat 6. It's just getting around the rules and regs, isn't it? So yeah, I think this car deserves to exist. And if you're still upset by the fact that it's a 4-cylinder, Porsche still make a flat 6. It's called the GTS 4 litre. And I would love to drive one of those cars if we ever get one in. Spot on. Absolutely spot on. I can really understand why people love the Porsche product and are so loyal to it. Because they do feel so different. They just feel like the complete machine. And yeah, I get that the 4-cylinder slightly detracts from that overall feeling, but it also offers a great deal as well. I think this car has a lot to offer. And if you want the flat 6, they still sell it. So everyone wins. Except me, because I can't afford this thing. I think everyone, it's like musical chairs, everyone should snap up their sort of dream car, look after it, drive it, cherish it, because in the future we're going to value them so much more. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get an M2 competition maybe. Yeah. Thanks for watching. See you next week.